When I heard back in 2017 that Taika Waititi was being named as the director of a live-action adaptation for 1988 classic Akira, I could not believe it. Taika Waititi at the time was not as hot of a director in Hollywood as he is right now, but everybody knew that he was the director of Thor Ragnarok. And I was a fan of the trailers, especially the one with the immigrant song as a background. After watching Ragnarok, I asked myself what kind of direction a director like Taika Waititi could take with a story like Akira, and I got hyped on the endless possibilities. So, in the year that Cyberpunk 2077 gets its release, at the time of recording this video, we are just weeks from it. A major revival on the cyberpunk genre is taking place right now. If you are excited for this and want to start to get in the mood, Akira is definitely a film you should watch. The city of Tokyo is destroyed by a major explosion in the year 1988. Years later, in 2019, we are in Neo-Tokyo, a city ruled by chaos, terrorism, and corruption. Everything and everyone is dark and filthy. We are introduced to our protagonists, Kaneda and Tetsuo. Kaneda is the leader of a bike gang, and Tetsuo is one of the low-ranked members of the group. He sees Kaneda as this fearless and flawless leader that can accomplish everything and overshadows not only him but the whole gang. Tetsuo's aspirations go beyond that he actually is. He is not taken very serious by Kaneda or anyone else, except the girl that he likes, that actually acknowledges his presence. Eventually, Tetsuo is captured by the government under the suspicion that he could be the host of a supernatural power, a source of pure power or pure energy, powers that he got on an accident during the story. The government knows that the explosion occurred years ago was not caused by other country, but by something else. Now, this movie was made in the 80s and should supposed to be the anime version of the manga. Back in the 80s, the nuclear threat caused by the Cold War was real. Therefore, the story is told from that real-world perspective and a vision how society will overcome the Cold War after the nuclear fallout. This is a cyberpunk movie that is not over the top. It has some strong elements, especially on the second and third act of the movie when it releases its full potential. The animation and action sequences are truly impressive for a movie of this time. It's very serious in tone, and you can truly feel the darkness that surrounds this world and its character, as well as the sociological values of a decadent society. The two main characters are very well written. We know very soon that Kaneda is a strong, charismatic, and fearless leader. He's extrovert and smart, willing to do everything for his friends, and especially his bike. He's not such of a deep character, but very entertaining, and fits pretty much on what a hero should be in this world. Tetsuo, on the other hand, is more complex. He starts pretty dark and goes even darker. He's so good. Now, I cannot tell a lot about this character without going into spoilers territory, so I'm just going to say that his portrayal goes from an empathetic nobody that wants to be part of the group to a very dangerous, complex, and dark character, by far the best of the movie. The rest of the cast is pretty well written. Now, this story is based on a 2,000 pages manga. Sometimes it feels that some characters should have a more relevant role in the story. The anti-heroes are complex and have dark intentions for different purposes. All these circumstances leads to an imminent collapse in the climax of the story. It's kind of difficult to keep with all the subplots on the story for a first-time viewer, but it's not the character's fault. They are definitely built to construct a major story that is not being told in the movie version. This movie is made for movie fans, especially for people that love the genre. It has a ton of mature content, it's violent, bloody, and there's nudity in it, so definitely not for kids. It also has an attempted rape scene that is very disturbing. Remember, this is the interpretation of a decadent society going even more decadent in the future. The story gets very gory by the end in an spectacular ending that makes the movie pretty memorable. However, the rest of the story feels botched, and there's a reason for it. They tried to compile a 2,000 pages manga story in a 2-hour film. But there's even more. This is a Game of Thrones situation. The film was made based on an ongoing story. The manga ended in 1990, and the movie was released in 1988. The movie and the manga start both similarly, but there is a point in the story that both stories diverge. However, in contrast to what happened to Game of Thrones, there is a point before the ending of the manga that they converge again. Obviously, the main reason for that is that the director of the film was the writer of the manga, Katsuhiro Otomo. Therefore, he was very careful in providing just one ending and not an alternative one. Akira's animation and storytelling were revolutionary and opened the door for anime to the Western world. Also, this film is the first animated film in Japan that was audio recorded before drawing. This was a revolutionary technique that allowed drawers to imagine human expressions while listening to the voice of the character. Sadly, the translated version is a mess. At least the original that I just rewatched. I don't know if there is another translated version, but I would suggest watching this movie with subtitles. You will get a whole different experience. The score is very solid, very bold, fits into the world, and makes transition between scenes very memorable. It's one of the best aspects of the film. This is not a perfect movie, and it's not the best anime movie ever. However, the animation is flawless and theme is very engaging. Characters are complex and dark, and the story is addicting. But the movie's biggest problem is the storytelling part. It's botched and gets confusing right few minutes in. If you don't cut up right away, the movie will become even more confusing. That is why it loses a couple of points in my rating. Akira is an 8 out of 10. One of the best cyberpunk movies you will ever watch and a true legacy for anime and the genre. Its development and launch opened the doors for modern anime, and for that is a must-watch for every anime fan. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my videos regularly and you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that today is the day that you consider doing so. And now that you're considering doing that, you may also consider smashing that like button. It will truly help me out. Guys, I will see you very soon.